All right, another week is done, and I have an inbox full of pictures from you guys that I cannot wait to share today. Welcome to Grow and Preserve. I'm Carter, and I'm so glad you're here today. If you are new here, this is my viewer installment of the Every Bit Counts Challenge that is sponsored by Jess over at Three Rivers Homestead, where every day in the month of August you try to preserve something small, something big. It doesn't really matter. And we all have lives, so if you're stacking up a couple of days so that you can take a couple of days and have the grandchildren or whatever it is you're doing, we don't care. It doesn't matter. So anyway, the point is to get as much preserved during this busy month as you can, and to try to even do something small when you just think you're too busy to get anything done. So you guys have been rocking this challenge, and I have asked for pictures of what you guys are preserving each and every week. So we are about to start episode 5. So there will be an episode 6, which will be the very last week of this. So I know there are more episodes than there are weeks in August, but I had a bunch of you who are in southern regions who did most of your canning during July, and so you did your own challenge in July. So we started off with those, and then we're going to finish with an episode 6 for those of you who are doing it during August. So I'm releasing this video on Wednesday, which means Thursday, tomorrow, will be August 31st. So if you have something that you want to send in to me for this last few days of August, be sure to get it to me, please, by Saturday. And then you will see those in the video, episode 6, that comes out on Wednesday. So did I just confuse you? I hope not. So this coming Saturday, you'll see what I did in this last week of August. And then the following Saturday, I'll show you what I got done for the whole month. So I'm excited about this. I hope you are. So sit back and enjoy it, because we have a lot coming your way. All right, we're going to start with Angie today. Angie has made a couple of pints of cowboy candy and 4 half pints of leftover marinade. That's a wonderful thing to use on steak and chicken or something before you put it on the grill. She's also done a gallon of sweet potato chips for her dogs. I think that's so cute. It looks like she has her names on the jar there. She also did 1 quart plus 1 pint of lemon pepper cucumber chips that they love to eat with guacamole. That sounds like a much healthier alternative than the Doritos or Tostitos or whatever I use for guacamole. She's also done 3 quarts of elderberry syrup, 11 pints and a half pint of charro beans, and 7 quarts of red beans with sausage. All of the beans were from her 2022 harvest. I think that's fantastic. Thank you, Angie. Let's move on to Carol. Carol, I need to eat dinner at Carol's house at some point. She makes the most beautiful looking things. So she started with 20 quarts of chicken vegetable broth. She said it smells so good, and I've already used 3 quarts. She has not done meat yet, so she says this is one step closer to getting to canning meats. She made chicken pot pies. She said she has so much chicken pot pie and stew. She used 2 of the chickens that she cooked when making the broth, and she got 5 pies with 4 large servings each and 6 quarts. Plus, we each ate a bowl of stew for dinner. I baked and gave away 2 pies plus 2 quarts of filling. 1 is in the fridge. 3 unbaked pies and 3 quarts of filling are in the freezer. That is a lot of chicken pot pie, isn't it? This next jar she calls tomato pearls. These are great tomatoes stuffed with a little bit of mozzarella and covered with white balsamic vinegar, a little bit of olive oil, salt, red pepper flakes, and fresh basil leaves. Isn't that just a beautiful jar when you open the fridge? It's not shelf stable. It stays in the refrigerator, but I think that's just gorgeous. She also made twice baked potatoes for the freezer and some Black Forest preserves. I had to look up Black Forest preserves. I did not know what they were, and now I'm kind of sorry I did, because they sounded really good. She said she used dark sweet frozen cherries and made chocolate sauce with dark chocolate cocoa powder. These were delicious and from the Ball Canning Book. So all of you who have the Ball Canning Book, if you want to make some Black Forest preserves, now you know what's there. She said, my husband, who has quite a sweet tooth, claimed them for ice cream, yogurt, and whatever else he can think to put them on. Oh, that was cute. And here is a bonus shot, she says, of one of her shelves filling up. Now Carol has a beautiful pantry, and this last shelf here is really getting stacked up. So way to go, Carol. Let's move on to Cisco. Cisco has made Texas chili, beef bone broth, and chicken and gravy. She said she's never pressure canned chili, so she was really excited to have that coming up for the winter. And she made cranberry sauce that she'll use as gifts for this fall. She also made these beautiful jars of peach pecan cherry preserves. Now this last one is really, really cool. It's right up there with Carol's tomato pearls. So she said, I've been wanting to try this to have on hand when feta is needed in a recipe. It called for oregano, but I used both oregano and rosemary. You can just add another cut up block of feta when the first one runs out. Plus you can use the oil in cooking. So this is feta in oil and some herbs that sits in her refrigerator. Another beautiful thing. She used the tomato sitting right next to him, right? Beautiful. Thank you, Cisco. Let's move on to Danny. Danny works full time. And she says, oh, I'm sorry, it's been a crazy busy week. I canned 5 more jars of pears, 6 jars of pear sauce, 5 barbecue beef, 7 jars of sausage, peppers, and onions while working full time. I think that's fantastic. Danny, you are amazing. Thank you very much. Darla made some corn relish from some extra sweet corn that she had. It looks beautiful. I just love corn relish with all the gorgeous colors. So I'm glad you made that, Darla. I may need to make some more as well. She said, I got some more tomatoes in the freezer, and she made Mrs. Wage's pizza sauce, and then dried the tomato skins and blended them into a tomato paste powder. So that's so smart. If you're not saving your tomato skins, make sure that you are doing that. You can dehydrate them. I suppose you can freeze dry them too, although I am not the freeze dryer expert, but you can definitely dehydrate them and then blend them and then use that, to make a little tomato paste, to thicken a soup, to thicken a gravy. It works perfectly. And she says the farmer who gave her the corn loves pickles but hates onions. So I don't know how you hate onions, but anyway, I made him a gallon of refrigerator pickles and he loves them. So that was really cute. And then in between the rains, she picked several small cucumbers and decided to try fermenting them. She said, I tucked them away to do their thing and I'm crossing my fingers. So I hope those are going to be perfect. I bet they will. Thanks, Darla, for sending those in. Okay, let's move on to Diana. This first slide, I had to put these two on the same slide because they are just so pretty together. So she did 9 pints of carrots and 6 pints of pickles. And I just think those colors are stunning. I hope she puts them next to each other on the pantry shelf. She also did 11 pints of burrito in a jar, which is really kind of fun. I don't know what all's in there, but I kind of like the idea of having a burrito in a jar. So that may be something I'll look at some point. And then this one made me smile. I also did 7 loaves of zucchini bread, but my husband ate it as fast as it was coming out of the oven. Gee, I can't relate to that at all. David would do the exact same thing. Thank you so much, Diana, for sending those pictures in. Okay, next we move on to Jane. She made cowboy candy, and she made dill pickle slices and dill pickle spears. She got her herbs dehydrated and she saved some basil seeds. She said, I need plants that are acclimated to this heat. It's been over 100 degrees since May. And that's an excellent point. If you have something that did really well in your garden, in whatever your weather is, for us, we were brutally hot. We weren't quite as hot as Jane was. But if you get something that thrived, use those seeds. Keep those seeds for next year and plant them. And in a few generations, you'll have something that is exceptionally suited for your garden. So thank you so much, Jane, for sending that in and for mentioning the seeds. Okay, Judy did this next one. Now this one I want to talk to you about. She found some bacon on sale, and she canned it up in, bacon croutons, basically is what I call them. This is so good, and it works so well. We have now, I think I'm down to 1 jar left. We eat it all the time on a salad. We have just gone back to low carb eating, so it does provide a nice crunch with no carbs in my salad, but it's delicious on salad. And I just throw it in either a pan on the stove to crisp it up, or I throw it in the air fryer. And it is just fantastic to have on the shelf because I don't have to make any of that big mess with grease splattering everywhere and standing over the stove. And anyway, if you have not made this and you are up for canning bacon, that's a really nice thing to have on your shelf. So way to go, Judy, grab that sale and stock up. And then next, she says, I didn't think I'd do anything else this month, but my grocery store had chicken breast for $1.47 a pound. Wow, that's a great price. So she purchased almost up to the maximum she was allowed to purchase, which I think was a 10-pound limit. And she saved 3 breasts for Sunday dinner, canned 4 quarts of chicken chunks. She said, I only had quarts available at this time, so I think each quart will make 2 meals, such as pot pie and chicken and noodles. I think that's a great idea. And it's really good to figure out what sizing you're going to use for these things. Yes, it's very expedient to put things in quarts, but if you're only going to use a pint size worth of something at a time and you have pints available, put them in pints. It may take you may have to process a couple of different times to get through all the pints, but when you don't have pints, you only have quarts, you can use those. Or if you don't have pints, you don't have quarts, you can use half pints. So use what you have and just figure out, know how you're going to make that quantity work for you. So Judy has already thought that through, and that's fantastic. Okay, let's move on to Kathleen. Kathleen is a mom of 4 who works full time. She says, I absolutely love canning and I wish I had started sooner in life. Don't we all, Kathleen? She started out with dehydrating some garlic scapes that she'll make into powder, and she made some sauerkraut. She's also water glassed eggs, and she shredded zucchini and 2 kinds of zucchini muffins, and half of those went into the freezer. Lastly, she did mushrooms, potatoes, chicken broth, tomato sauce, green beans, pizza sauce, and pizza dough. Kathleen has been very busy indeed. Remember, she works full time. So I think this is more than just a past week. But that is quite a lot to get done. So thank you so much, Kathleen, for sending that in. Linda, oh, look at this deal here. Linda is from Canada. She found an amazing deal on San Marzano tomatoes. She bought 75 pounds for $38.97 Canadian. So in US dollars, that's $28.69. 75 pounds for $28.69. Sign me up. That's just fantastic. So glad you found that and so glad you took advantage of it, Linda. She canned 16 quarts of tomato sauce, and her husband made his Italian meat sauce with the leftover tomatoes, and she made roasted salsa for the freezer. So she made great use of those 75 pounds. I think that's just, look how much food she got for $28.69, plus time and effort, of course, but wow, Linda, way to go. She also dried her herbs. She had rosemary, thyme, sage, and summer savory on her drying rack. Now, I used to have one of these drying racks back in the day, and I thought it was for clothes. Come to find out, it works perfectly as an herb drying rack. So I just think that is just the coolest thing. So Linda, I'm so happy to see that. Thank you so much for sending these in. On to Lisa. Lisa also works full time, and she calls herself another weekend warrior, which you guys really are. I don't know how you work full time and preserve as much as you do during this month of August. So caps off to you. She said she made cranberry chutney and it'll be wonderful this Thanksgiving. She said she's also getting ready for winter weather with a vegetable soup base. She made 13 quarts, which sounds delicious. She says she already has canned beef and chicken on the shelf, so it'll be quick and easy to just throw those together for a nice hearty meal. And I think that's a great idea. I am also going to be adding some tomato vegetable soup base to my pantry, and I don't know why I don't have any of that, quite frankly. I mean, it's just, sometimes you guys do things and I'm like, shoot, I should be doing that too. Why haven't I done that? So I am going to fix that. So I thank you, Lisa, for the gentle reminder again. Okay, on to Lori. Lori has done something new. She canned pineapple zucchini. She says apparently zucchini can mock anything you can with it. So I figured, why not? And it looks like pineapple, doesn't it? I'm kind of impressed. I'd have to call it something else if I were going to serve it to my husband, because the zucchini part of pineapple zucchini would really throw him for a loop. And I know if I said mock pineapple, he'd go, huh? So I might just have to call it pineapple in my house. But anyway, thank you so much, Lori. I'm glad you got to try something new, and I hope it's wonderful. Next, we're going to move on to Lynn, and I want to read you just a little bit of Lynn's story because it's so inspirational. She says, preserving food has been a way of life since childhood. Since my husband of 48 years has a green thumb and is a great sous chef, it is definitely a family effort. Our primary source of beef and chicken are from a local free-range farm. 7 months of the year, we pick up our 5 fresh birds, slow cook, can, and make the richest bone broth you will ever eat. This endeavor provides us with protein for the year. For the last 25 years, the canned beef and chicken have been our idea of fast food while working and teaching from home. My husband grows a small raised bed garden in which we eat from and put up vegetables. We drive to our hometown and help family members process corn, pick turnip greens, and fruits to eat while the snow flies. In addition to dehydrating, canning meats, broths, fruit, and vegetables, I am a student of herbal medicines. For example, many of my herbal tinctures finish their 2-month maceration, so one of my recent projects was to strain, jar, and document them. What a great story, right? So in this slide, we see her chicken factory, and she saves the shells to put back into the garden, which add calcium to the soil and other minerals. And then she has a fresh garden harvest. I just think that's the full circle is just beautiful there. In this next slide, she has more red and yellow cherry tomatoes and some slicer tomatoes in the dehydrator. And one of her tinctures is elderberry echinacea, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last word, so we'll just say elderberry echinacea tincture. She has several others of them were not pictured. Also this month, so I have pictures of some of this, not of all, but I am going to read it to you. So also this month, she has processed 105 ears of corn, 8 quarts of flash frozen peaches, 6 gallons plus 4 quarts of frozen strawberries, 12 pints red and green pickle slaw, 12 pints of green slaw, 4 pints of red pickle slaw, 10 quarts of squash, zucchini, and onions, 16 pints of beef bone broth, 2 quarts of beef bone broth, 25 pints of chicken and broth, 15 pints of chicken broth, 19 pints of cowboy candy, 19 quarter pints of Asian plum sauce, 19 half pints of plum jam, 21 half pints of peach jelly, and red hot cinnamon pickles. That's a lot of stuff, but I'm like, red hot cinnamon pickles, what on earth are those? I had 2 people this week who made red hot cinnamon pickles, and she said they are made with overgrown cucumbers. She said they're not the least bit healthy due to loads of sugar in the red hot candies. They're quite laborious and take 3 days to process, which is why I haven't made them in 20 years. Our 3 sons love them though. I thought that was a great story. So Lynn, thank you so much for sending that in. Okay, on to Marsha. Marsha says she's been canning for many years, both water bath and pressure canning. She also dehydrates, ferments, and freezes. I'm slightly obsessed with gardening, cooking, and food preservation, she says, which you will see. So this is what I've preserved so far, she says. On the canned foods, 5 pints of beef and wine sauce, 5 pints of meatballs and broth, 5 pints of ground beef, 7 pints of roasted tomatoes, onions, and garlic, 4 pints of green beans, 4 pints of dilly beans, 3 pints of red hot cinnamon pickles, 7 pints of icicle pickles, 2 quarts and 2 pints of sweet cucumber lime pickles, and 11 half pints of Asian plum dipping sauce. That's a lot of canning Marsha's been doing. She is definitely a canning enthusiast, right? She also did some freezing. She froze 5 quarts of spaghetti sauce with ground beef and 10 small bags of okra that was breaded, and those are now in the freezer ready to be fried. On the dehydrating side, she did 11 dozen eggs. She found organic eggs on clearance for $1.29 a dozen. That's really amazing. So, way to go, Marsha. That's just fantastic. She's also done tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, and tomato powder, cucumber powder, mushroom powder, DIY beef broth powder that was dehydrated. She said this takes time, but it's well worth it. And she's also done herbs, Mexican oregano, Greek oregano, sage, thyme, lemon balm. I also fermented several jars of pickles. Marsha is absolutely the preserving enthusiast, so she's done a great job and been so busy. Thank you so much, Marsha, for sending those in. Moving on to Mary, she says she's canned 11 half pints of the pear chutney, and it's incredible. Pear chutney, this recipe in particular, I'll link it up above, I think it's fantastic. Everybody who comes to my house wants me to serve this. If they invite me over and it's, bring something kind of thing, everybody's bring pear chutney. So I put it on an appetizer plate with crackers and meats and cheese, and it's just really hard not to love this pear chutney. So if you haven't tried it and you have some pears, give it a shot. She said she bought local fresh peaches and made jalapeno peach jam and 12 half pints and 1 pint of tomato jam. And she said they're all so delicious. They look fantastic. She said, I'm really enjoying this gardening season. We retired back to Oklahoma after living in Albuquerque for 30 years, and I'm really enjoying the farm life here. My first garden and first canning season, and it has been truly amazing. Okay, first garden and first canning season, and look how much she's getting done. That's fantastic. I can't believe I missed out on all of it for all these years. And she says she's so excited because her husband bought her a steam canner as a surprise. So she's very excited about that, and she's going to love it. If you don't have a steam canner, I'm really enjoying mine. I've only had it for, a month or 6 weeks or maybe even 8 weeks, I don't remember. But I love it so far. I've had no issues with it. It's quick and easy. It uses far less water. It is very easy to pick up and carry, to dump the water out, to put back up in the cupboard. Anyway, if you don't have a steam canner, you might want to take a look at that. Maybe not for this season, but for next season. All right, let's move on to Pamela. Pamela has canned the rest of her peppers, those beautiful jars. I just think those jars are just stunning. Orange and red peppers, gorgeous. She's also done French cut green beans, another beautiful jar, and carrots. So she's going to have some gorgeous pantry shelves. Very healthy looking, Pamela. She's also done sloppy joes, and then she powdered a bunch of herbs. This is yarrow, comfrey, and mullein. I don't know what mullein is, but perhaps she'll fill us in. Thank you so much for sending those, Pamela. Okay, I have 2 Sandras this week, so we're going to start with Sandra L. She says, this week I canned 2 pints of cowboy candy using some beautiful peppers from my garden. She also canned 7 quarts of chili and beans. I think that's fantastic, Sandra. Those are great additions to the pantry. Thank you so much. Next is Sandra S. So she made me laugh with this first line. She says, I always look forward to August and putting something away every day. I'm starting to look forward to fall and being finished. I think many of us can relate to that. It's just so perfect, Sandra. Thank you. So this week she did 13 pints of carrots. She said, every year I try to can something new. This was her first time for carrots. Well, by the looks of them, you did a fantastic job, Sandra. Then she made pickles. She said, I bought the cucumbers from the local market. It was such a wonderful deal. I canned 39 pints. So she ought to be stocked on pickles for a while. She also froze about 120 ears of corn. That's a lot of corn. That's fantastic. She also made 6 pints of hot zucchini relish, which looks absolutely delicious. And we're going to end on this last slide here. She says, this is where I store all of my canned goods, and the dining room table holds the excess. The dining room table was all done in August. So it looks like she has some in a spare bedroom, some in a kitchen pantry, and then the overflow on the dining room table. And I have to tell you, my dining room table looks just like that at the moment. I have not moved anything down from this month because I'm waiting to do the final recap, the end of the month. What can you can in 31 days, or what can you preserve in 31 days? So it's all my dining room table. So it's starting to make me wonder about the strength of the dining room table. But anyway, so great selection this week, right? Absolutely fantastic. You guys are doing amazing. So if you want to submit something for next week, this final week, partial week of August, get your pictures to me by Saturday, please. I'll put the email instructions down below, and then you'll see them the following Wednesday. So I will be back on Saturday to show you what I managed to do this week. and I hope I can keep up with some of you guys. I don't know, it's amazing what you guys have done. So I appreciate so much that you're participating in this and that you're sharing this with me and allowing me to share it with the rest of you. So I thank you very much. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful week. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.